Welcome to Blog 72, a short engagement. Hi, I'm Barb Buchmayer, and today Sir and I are going to share a session that we did when he was only about a year old on engagement. I just wanted to mention that in my group I've seen a lot of people posting videos of working with cones, which is wonderful, but I haven't seen anybody showing any engagement videos, and engagement is super important because if your dog isn't engaged with you, you'll never be able to do any herding. So what is engagement? Engagement is your dog being hooked up and responsive to you while being hooked up and responsive to the livestock. Now in this video, I have Sir out in a field. He's across the fence from the sheep, so the sheep aren't really that hooked up, even though I know they know he is there, and he knows they're there. So it's a good situation for him. He was just getting into engagement here. We had started out with him just being able to eat and to tug near stock, and then I've moved on to having him do obedience behaviors. Here I'm going to send him off and then call him back. So we're using the tug. I started out with some treats and doing some healing. And so we've just tried to keep it upbeat and happy and keep him engaged with me. It's much easier for Sir to engage with me if I have a tug than with treats, because tugs are much more higher value to him. So what I do is I start with just having the dog engage with me by, can they eat a treat? Can they tug with me? Can they release the tug? And when they take the treat, do they take it really hard and fast out of my hand, or are they calm enough to relax? And if they're not, too excited, or if they are too excited, I may just drop the treats in the grass and let them sniff around and try and get them to relax a little bit. But the whole time they know that the stock is there. You want to move close enough that they know the stock is there, but far enough away that they can engage with you. In other words, at this point, or in the beginning, to take treats and eventually tug with you. And then you move that closer and closer. At this point, I didn't need to have the sheep in a pen, because just having them at this distance was enough to distract him. And then after time, we move closer and closer. The sheep get into a pen, and I start working on obedience behaviors. I'm pretty flexible. Like here, I'm working obedience behaviors, and the sheep aren't in a pen, but it was still pretty distracting for him. As you can see, he spends a lot of time hooked up to me, but he spends some time looking at the sheep, worrying about the sheep. I don't try and get him to look at only me. That's not the whole idea. I want him to look at the sheep as much as he wants to, but to be able to listen to me. So once he can do the eating and tugging, we do the obedience behaviors, and then we start moving our herding behaviors that we trained away from livestock to livestock, and start doing those and move them closer and closer until he can do those around pen sheep. And I like the pen sheep because he doesn't have to worry about controlling them. Just the sight and the smell of them is enough to be highly distracting to him. And then once he can do that, then we release the sheep in the small area, and the same thing. He has to stay engaged. Even when we get to the highest levels of training, he has to stay engaged in order to listen to me, take cues, but he needs to be engaged because a lot of times he's going to be working on his own instinct, and he's going to control the stock without me telling him what to do. So I don't want him looking at me. I want him looking at the stock, but I want him listening to me. One ear on me and one ear on the stock. So this is the entire session, just to give you an idea of how one might go, how long I do it. And you can see I'm moving closer to the camera because I'm planning on turning it off. One last recall, and we're ready to be done. I hope you enjoyed this. Please tell your friends, hit the like button. I love that, and help me spread the herd. Thanks so much.